Hi, welcome to Far From Eden. Today we've got kind of an update on the little girl with maybe cancer. I'm going to talk about the Bratty girls, how we talked about how the sassiness in the little ones turns to brattiness in the adult females, and it's going to lead into a nice story. So it's kind of everywhere. But I like to tell you guys like real stuff that happens in life. When I think about the things we talk about on this channel, we talk about the importance of fathers, the brutality of the family courts in this country and in other Western nations. Just terrible what men go through, false accusations, and the lies of feminism. We talk about that. Anyway, so sometimes when I'm out in the field, so to speak, just kind of functioning in life, there's an anecdote here or there. So we have that tonight. So I'm excited to share that with you guys. So the little girl who may have cancer, when I found out that that was a possibility, I had about 10 seconds of information given me because a riding lesson was about to start, and so the person telling me didn't have a lot, she didn't have a lot of the information. So where we are right now is that we have been to the neurosurgeon for the initial sort of consultation with the neurosurgeon, because she went neurologist because of headaches, right? Headaches, so neurologist orders MRI, neurologist sees MRI, refers to neurosurgeon. Neurosurgeon has appointment with them, and then I translate what I know from the instructor, who's younger than me and thankfully for her less experienced in all of this stuff. There are more tests they need, so I think it's neurosurgeon said we got to take a biopsy. That's the only way we'll know, and that has yet to be, because I'm sure I will know when head's been shaved and that's going on, because that will, whatever, that's where we are. So what I was there for was, it was her birthday, her 13th birthday yesterday, and the instructor had gotten her a cookie cake, not like a cake, but the instructor went out and bought, those big cookies that they put icing on and say happy birthday or what have you, and she got her one of those because the girl likes those, and surprised her with it after the lesson. And so I talked to the instructor today on the phone. That's how I kind of was like, okay, well, what's going on? Like, when do we find out? And that's where I got the rest of the story, or I should say, filled in the gaps, and know where we are now. So she said that it was so great that I came. She said she talked to the mom, and the mom said that was her favorite birthday she's ever had. She got to pick what she wanted to do in the riding lesson. So that was fun. So I was there for that, and it was, that's sort of a relaxed lesson anyway, because the girls are, pretty good riders, and so we had some fun. But the whole time, I know the mom doesn't know I know, and obviously the girl doesn't know I know, and her friend that she rides with is there, and I don't think the friend knows, but it how it just weighs in the air, because the mom's thinking about it. The little girl can probably compartmentalize pretty well and probably doesn't have a full idea of what this all means, because how can you? I mean, adults hardly can. And so I could sort of, it's that bittersweet thing, enjoying the time together, enjoying, all sort of laughing together, and just watching, I almost said her name, watching her enjoy her lesson, enjoy the horse she was riding, just all of it. But in those moments, those moments suddenly have so much clarity that before such sort of tragic and news that you just know you shouldn't be getting, in a way, like it's just too awful to even think. I can't believe we're even thinking this is a possibility, you know? And so in those moments that you would have enjoyed before that, because you have this darkness, this weight, it sounds so cheesy. I'm sorry. Bear with me. But literally, like, the joy seems so much greater. Those moments of, I'm going to get myself choked up. Those moments of sheer joy and enjoying each other, you know, they become so much more poignant to you. Because it is sort of like, what is the light if we don't know what dark is? You know, it is that way. It's just true. So I don't know that that's why she thought it was her best birthday. I don't know that she has that. But at the same time, with this little one, she's not so little anymore, she's 13. But with this sweetheart, I just wouldn't put it past her. She has that wisdom. I could expect it from her. She's sort of an old soul, you know. So we're keeping her in our prayers. And somebody asked me for her name so that we could pray, and I understand that. And there's probably a scripture says something about a name, but here's what I would say to that. You know, just in the interest of everybody's privacy and everything, like, God knows her name. He knows her name. So, anyways. So let's talk about those brats. Oh boy. Yeah. So when I was telling you guys about the brats from Wednesday. Yeah. So Thursday when I went, that's charming. That would be little Lola, and I still have my tissues that I bought today sitting there. That's very classy. Oops. So, Lola, you distracted me. You distracted me, girly. And I'm like, anyway, the brats. So, yes, the brats were on Wednesday. Thursday at the barn, I went, and I was obviously going for the girl that I talked about before, but I like to go and be there for other lessons too, especially if they're going to be people that I'm going to be helping to coach in the future. So anyways, so I was there, and this one little girl came to ride, and I didn't really remember her from before. I haven't coached her from before, so I didn't remember her. So I thought, oh yeah, okay. Then when I saw her ride, I remember her, because I can remember a rider, but a name and no. But if I see her ride, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this one, because she's a talented little thing, and she's only 7, and she's a little teeny little 7. Like when I was 7, I was like going on 12, but she's like a teeny little dainty little 7. You know, just feel like a strong gust of wind will just blow her right out of the saddle. No, we have not become an equestrian channel. We are still talking about gender politics, as they say. I guess that's one way we would talk about it. But anyways, little girl. So she's 7, and I was just watching her, and you know, she would smile. Now, the instructor was right next to her the whole time. She's not really a beginner, but the things they were working on needed the instructor right there. And so I couldn't hear her. She wasn't loud. So that was lovely. She was smiling and you could just hear, and when she'd walk by, when they'd go near me, she would be a little louder, and it was all there was no arguing. There was no. It was all yes, Miss, almost said her name, but Miss so-and-so, the instructor, very, very respectful, very sweet, just everything you would hope, right? And who do you think brought her to her lesson? Anybody guess? Dad? If you guessed, and also Grandpa, I wish I could give you a prize, because that's who had brought her. And I, generally, when it's not just women being, excuse me, stop tearing up the pillow, weirdo. She's such a weirdo. Look at her be weird. Do you see? Now she's sitting on the pillow like as if that's all she was gonna do. Sure. She only does this when I'm talking to you guys, I swear. So anyways, the dad and granddad. And I usually talk to them if, the women folk, not so much because they're on their phones and they're just seem to have attitudes, a lot of them. But anyways, so I somehow started talking to them and we talked, I know exactly how it was. They said, where is this horse from? He hadn't been in the barn for very long. It was the first time she'd ridden that horse. Oh, he came from, I can't tell this story. Anyway, he came from this place. Oh, this place used to be such and such with the horse business. Well, this place used to be too. And we started talking about that. Then the man said, yeah, well, Uncle Sam put a stop to that. And immediately I go, how you start to get a sense for like where we are politically, you know what I mean? And I already could see them and I'm like, these are men, these are like burly, they've not been any, anyway, I could pretty much figure out who they were that way. And so we just started talking a little bit of politics because I knew that we'd be pretty much aligned. I'm not talking about who I'm going to vote for because I personally think that it doesn't matter, because I just think that, maybe, FDR said, leaders are selected, not elected. So I'm not talking about, a Democrat or a Republican no, I'm talking about like value systems. That's what I'm talking about, value systems. So maybe political is not the right term. But I kind of was, we were talking about the way the world is going, value system wise, the way the country is going, the way society is going. And I mentioned the brats. I didn't mention them specifically. I mentioned the brattiness of so many of today's youth, and how it's a problem, and that his granddaughter, because I was for the most part speaking with the grandfather, I just said, she's just a delight. She's a delight. I'm sitting here and I told him, I said, I feel like she has restored my faith. I mean, not really my faith in women or, children not being bratty would take a whole lot more, but I was trying to give him the compliment that he and his father and her father needed to hear. He was just focused on the lesson. And I have another, I could be wrong, but about the dad. I wish you guys could remind me to say it after. I could do a live and then you could. Okay, it's almost like I heard you. So anyway, So I told the granddad, and I said, and she's very talented. Like, she's very talented. And I assured him, look, I don't just give free compliments. You know, if I say a writer is talented, I mean it. You know, there's no need to just say it for any reason. And so we were talking politics, and where that conversation kind of went, because we sort of veered off, talked about the little girl, then kind of veered back towards politics, because he had said about taxes, you know, and how taxes had, you know, Uncle Sam had ruined, you know, one of these places we were talking about for the horse industry, and it just kind of grew. And then he talked about what he did not want his granddaughter to see and what he didn't want her to learn in school. He was pretty specific about the type of thing he didn't want her to see and know about in school, and I was in agreement with him. And this just goes to show you how women think too, because, and I'm talking about myself, because he said, you know, I just don't know if our society, if our country doesn't change soon, I just don't know. And I said, well, I don't know if there's much, you know, hope for that. I think it's like time to get your preps. And he said, well, I can't. He said, and he's looking at his granddaughter, and I said, yep, I understand you've got a granddaughter. He said, yeah, I've got a granddaughter. And I'm like, you know, I'm sitting there. I'm looking right at the granddaughter. I'm looking right at the grandfather. I'm not a moron. And I say, get your preps. Have I learned nothing? Have I learned nothing about you guys? Have I learned nothing about men? You guys? You, of course. He has progeny. And at the end of the day, right now, she's an innocent, sweet little girl. And you guys and I can think about what feminism is going to do to her, and what, you know, having the idea of having a career is going to do, and like going to college, all the things that can derail you from, you know, true fulfillment as a woman, you know, and filling our role in the most important, the building block of Western civilization, of Christendom, and that is the nuclear family. And without us in it and being part of it, it doesn't work. You can't, and it's just like if men were malfunctioning, it doesn't work. So, but it's the females that you know, began to malfunction and not do our role, because we wanted to be sexually liberated and have a career too, because work is so much fun. But anyways, I digress. We don't know what all that's going to do when all the propaganda, all the brainwashing, you know, assaults her, basically. These older values that the men in her life have, and the great example that they set, it's pretty hard to fight against the whole dang woke world, you know, and feminist world. And they don't know what all they're up against. So, I mean, bless their hearts. They still think there's a fighting chance because they have to. And I guess they think it's, you know, voting. I want them to be right. But what I saw, I can't change all that. I can't fix all that. We're not all going to agree on that, so it doesn't matter. But what we know is that those men love that little girl, and they want to protect her. and they want to do right by her. And they would walk through fire. I looked at those men, I know. They would walk through fire. Twice. And the third time backwards. For that little girl. Not because she's a little girl. If it had been a little boy, their child, their progeny. As far as the dad, sometimes when the dad brings the child, it's because the dad's in town, so he's doing it. Sometimes it's, they have a lot of kids, so they're kind of doing partial this, partial that. More often than not, it's because they're divorced. I don't know, but I do know that the dad was definitely like, I'm watching my daughter. And I mean, he was watching his daughter, but he was definitely like, you have cooties. So I was like, he's either married and he's like, or he's like been married and divorced and he's like, I don't even want to be nice to a woman. And maybe it's just, I see MGTOW everywhere. I don't know. But I was like, I sense a MGTOW. I don't know. I could be wrong. He could be totally happily married, whatever. I'll have to get his story. But I just, sometimes I can sometimes tell when there's a man out there that's like, I have been wronged by women and I don't like to talk to you guys. Not because I hate you. I'm over it. He was polite. He was part of the conversation, but there was definitely like yeah. So, like I said, I don't know. It could be I see MGTOW everywhere because that's kind of what I think about every day. Not that particular thing, but the issues. I was checking notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything. If anybody ever found my notes, they would be like, what is this kind of weird scribble with these phrases? Yeah, I told you guys the updates and about the dad and the granddad. And just their hearts, just the valor, just the innate valor. Just looked like they wanted to hold the line against anything that would harm their child and grandchild. And I can't imagine what that must be like. Because even it helped me understand men a little bit more as this world is, as it's turning into what it's turning into societally. Because often I have said, get the popcorn, watch the world burn, and I think part of it's because I'm a woman, and even with my disease and with some things that have happened in my life, do I really know what hardship is? No, I really don't. Not really. I don't think so. So I was just running through my mind, and I'm like, you think at a certain point as a woman, you think, oh, I've been through so much. But when you think about like if the grid went down, or you think about living in like a second or third world country, no way, man. I've been through nothing. And so it's easy for me to be like, oh, I'll get my popcorn, watch the world burn. I've never even been like hit in the face, maybe once by my mother. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I have no idea. So easy for me to just kind of shrug it off. Also, being female, my role my role, my gender's role in building Western society was important, right? Somebody was Thomas Jefferson's mother, right? Okay. Somebody was, I know Prince John signed the Magna Carta, whoever wrote the Magna Carta, somebody was that person's mom. That's important, right? Somebody was the wife of those important men too. And somebody was Joan of Arc. Somebody was, if you guys get on there and tell me conspiracy theories and be like, she never existed, I will totally read it. I want to know, but it's just very fascinating to me. But anyways, you see what I'm saying? Like, there have been important women in roles that mostly wife and mother nurturer, because that's where we shine, right? And you don't have to be famous to be important, right? It doesn't matter how many people know your name. Your efforts. I don't know why I'm telling mostly men that women are important. You guys know it. It's the women who don't think being a woman, all the woman stuff is important. But anyways, so we didn't build it. We don't keep it running right now. Most women don't know how it's running. If you say the grid to women, most of them have no idea what you're talking about. In fact, there's a good little snippet from a whatever podcast that I caught where they're talking about the grid going down, and the girls are like, you're just like, it's so awesome to see like no registering in their eyes. I need to find that clip. Anyway, I'm rambling, but yeah, so easy for me to be like, I'll get the popcorn. And so when men think about it, I'm like, they can't just do that. They can't just say that. Because many of them have progeny. And even if they don't, the idea of it, the idea that their forefathers built this and they're supposed to protect it and continue to sustain it and all of that, that's in them. They can't just. And I started applying that to, just go to the Philippines and get a family. Okay, just go be a MGTOW monk and live in a cabin. It's not that easy for them to just let it go. Let the dream go. Let what should be go. I'm sure once they make the decision, then they're like, it's easy to stay there. But I think that I have been far too flippant in that for sure. It's not that easy to just say, I'm out, I'm letting go of what should be true. And I could see it in those men as they watched their daughter and granddaughter and thought about the world burning down around them, and she has no idea. And it's getting closer and closer, and they are hoping that the water, turns on in time. So I think if you pay attention, if women could just pay attention and listen and stop being the star of their own movie, it's not that difficult to see what men are. It's really not. It's not complicated. But I'm grateful for you guys. And I'm grateful for those men that we're talking about. Grateful that little girl has them. So I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for hanging out, and take care of yourselves. Good night.